They say the devil walks among men, but in the winter of my 62nd year, I discovered something worse. A book, bound not in leather, but in the hardened skin of a creature that could never have walked this earth. I was but a humble scribe, once content to copy scripture and ledger in the monastery of Saint Arambert. The days passed quietly, punctuated only by the rustling of vellum, the scent of ink, and the long chants echoing through the stone halls. That all changed when the abbot summoned me to the catacombs. There, in a box sealed with 7 iron locks, hidden beneath centuries of dust and forgotten relics, was the book. No title adorned its surface, just a faint heat, pulsing like the last breath of a dying beast. Its skin shimmered under torchlight, red as dried blood, scaled like no serpent known to man. "Read it," the abbot commanded, "and tell me what lies within." Thus began my descent not only into knowledge forbidden, but into the very bowels of darkness. Each page I turned seemed to whisper a new sin into my soul, revealing truths about the world, about God, creation, and man, that clawed at everything I believed. This is not just my confession. It is a warning. They say a man's soul can survive anything, war, plague, even the cruel hand of hunger. But I, Brother Aldrich, once a mere scribe of parchment and prayer, now bear witness to something far older and darker. My tale is no fable told by firelight. It is truth scorched into memory, drawn from the pages of a book that should never have been found. The dragonskin tome, its texture tough and warm like embers, was no mere relic. Within its pages lay writings in languages I had never seen, but somehow understood. They came to me not as words, but visions. Cities of crystal ruled by beasts with human eyes, men born of flame and shadow, angels with wings of bone who whispered heresies sweet as wine. I began to change. My hands, once steady and calloused from years of script, now trembled with unknown power. When I prayed, the candles flared. When I wept, the stone floor cracked beneath my knees. The abbot noticed first. He asked if I still slept. I lied. In truth, the book fed me dreams. Too vivid, too ancient. I saw the world before Eden, when creatures of scale and song ruled the sky, and below humans crawled in fear. It was not long before the monks grew afraid. They whispered, avoided my gaze. The abbot demanded the book's return, but it clung to me. I could not part with it, not out of love, out of terror. For each day I read, it grew heavier, hungrier. It began to bleed when left closed too long. Its blood burned parchment. Once, it scorched a cross. A knight came to the monastery. Sir Leontius, said to be blessed by Michael himself, tall, pious, and suspicious. He called the book a heresy, ordered it burned. I refused. He took it by force. He didn't last the night. They found him in the chapel, his sword bent in two, mouth full of ash. The book lay beside him, open to a page I had never seen. A page with my name etched in gold, surrounded by coiling beasts with 7 eyes. The monks fled. Some called it witchcraft, others, a sign. Left alone, I fled with the book deep into the eastern forests. There, in the ruins of a forgotten abbey, I read. I read for weeks, perhaps years. Time lost meaning. I learned the truth. The book was not made by man. It was the last remnant of a race that walked before us, who gave humans the gift of fire and madness. The book was not knowledge. It was memory. Eventually, it spoke, not in sound, in my mind. It said, "You are the final scribe." I laughed, but it wasn't a joke. I had no more need for ink or feathered quills. I could write with thought, shape meaning into stone. But I had become a vessel, no longer Aldrich, but a mouthpiece for something that once ruled the stars. One day, I tried to destroy it. I took it to a volcano where no man dared go. As I hurled it into the fire, The world screamed. Lightning split the heavens. But the book did not burn. It floated above the magma, pages fluttering like wings. I saw visions, cities fall, oceans boil, my own face on statues worshipped by creatures not yet born. I collapsed. When I awoke, it was beside me, whole, waiting. I wandered for years, spoke to kings, madmen, prophets. None could help. Some tried to steal it. They died. Others listened too long. They changed. One built a cult. Another slit his own throat and wrote in his blood. Now I am old. My hands are cracked like the cover of that cursed tome. I can feel the book seeking its next bearer. I write this with what remains of my will, hoping someone finds it and understands. This book is not salvation. It is a test, and humanity, I fear, is failing. Should you ever find it, bound in scales, humming with warmth, do not open it. Do not read it. Bury it deep, beneath earth, beneath memory, and pray it does not call your name. In the years that followed, I traveled under many names. Aldrich the scribe, the mad monk, the keeper of scales. Yet no title could capture the truth. I was a man cursed with knowledge that did not belong in this world. The dragon skin book had imprinted itself upon me, body and soul. I could feel its heartbeat even when it lay hidden in my satchel, like a sleeping predator. One spring, I found refuge in the court of Lord Mathieu of Caer-Duran, a once prosperous fortress now haunted by whispers. The Baron's daughter, Lady Eleanor, was plagued by visions. She spoke tongues she never learned, and her skin bore the shape of ancient runes. They thought her mad, but I knew better. She had touched the book, or rather, the book had touched her through dreams. I tried to flee, fearing what it might awaken in her, but she called out to me by name, my true name. She described the volcano, the beasts, the angels of ash. "Help me," she whispered. The Baron, desperate, allowed me to stay. I began guiding her through the visions, channeling them into drawings, songs, and finally, pages. She wrote faster than I ever could. Her hands bled ink. And then the book changed. A new chapter appeared, one bound in silver, written in her hand. It told of a future not yet written, where mankind would split in two, those who heard the song and those who silenced it. But Lady Eleanor vanished one night. No trace. Only the book lay on her bed, her chapter now erased. Fearing what this meant, I took the book north, to the icy abbeys of the fractured saints, where monks spoke only in silence and survived on melted snow. They knew of the book. They feared it. One old brother, blind and covered in burns, touched the book and began to sing, a hymn so old it shook the icicles from the rafters. "He is awakening," he said before dying. Who he was, I still did not know. But the book hungered more. Pages turned on their own. Visions became real. Once I awoke with scales on my arms that took days to shed. I began to speak in languages not known to men. I journeyed farther, into the east, where the sand buried forgotten empires. In the ruins of Seran-Toul, I met the Order of the Veiled Flame, women who worshipped knowledge as deity. They welcomed me as a herald. The book glowed in their presence, revealing secrets of the sky, of bloodlines hidden in royal courts, of wars yet to come. They believed the book was divine. I warned them otherwise. But one among them, Sister Nayla, disagreed. She believed the book could be wielded like a blade. She stole it, unleashed it. A whole city vanished into smoke overnight. The sky bled red for days. I found her days later, whispering to herself in a pit of ash. She had become something else. Her eyes reptilian, her voice like wind over bone. She said she saw the end and the beginning, and they were one. I buried her with the book. Or so I thought. That night, it returned, lying beside me, warm and waiting. It would never leave me. In desperation, I climbed Mount Trassalore, the highest peak known to man, where air was thin and gods were said to sleep. There, atop its summit, I tore open my chest, bleeding upon the book. I begged whatever force dwelled within to take me instead. And for a moment, it did. I felt everything, every death, every birth, every scream from the depths of time. I saw the first reader and the last. I saw fire rain from the moon and oceans lift into the heavens. I saw a god made of ink, alone, writing the world with its claws. And then I awoke, alive. Years passed, centuries perhaps. My face never aged. I watched kingdoms fall, lovers die, stars fade. I walked among scholars, madmen, oracles. Some tried to copy the book. All failed. Ink turned to blood, parchment to ash. Now I write these words from a place beyond time. I no longer know where I am. The sun never rises here. My shadow has grown horns. The book sits before me, but no longer speaks. It waits for you. You who read this, who found this manuscript buried in stone, beneath churches, beneath memory. Know this, the book is alive. It chooses its bearer. And once chosen, you are never free. It will promise power, wisdom, even salvation, but it lies. Its truth is poison wrapped in gold. Should you find it, run. Should you open it, kneel. And should it speak your name, obey or be unmade. I was Aldrich. Now I am nothing but its echo. I never believed in magic, not the wand-waving kind or the whispered spells in dark forests. I was a historian, grounded in manuscripts, footnotes, and archaeological reports. My job was to document the truth, to bring clarity to the murky past. But that was before the storm, before the lightning struck the dig site in Carcassonne and hurled me through a hole not just in the earth, but in time. When I awoke, my modern clothes were scorched, my phone dead, and the air tasted of wood smoke and raw iron. The world around me was ancient. Not medieval Europe as I had studied, but something older, stranger. No maps matched it, no dialects quite made sense. I had fallen through time, into a world where myth breathed and monsters still lurked in cave shadows. I was taken prisoner by a clan of warriors who wore pelts and bone, and who worshipped a relic they believed had fallen from the stars. A book, bound in scaled leather, locked in iron, and pulsing with heat. They called it the dragon's tongue, the eye of the old world. When they brought it before me, I knew. It was the same book from the legends I had studied in the archives. The one whose pages drove kings to war and prophets to madness. Only this time, I was no observer. The book opened for me, and thus began my life in exile. Not from a land, but from time itself. They named me Ashborn, after the fire that had split the sky the night I arrived. At first, they feared me. My words were strange, my gestures foreign. But once I touched the dragonskin book, their shamans fell silent. The book recognized me. Its cover hissed and its pages fluttered on their own. And just like that, I was no longer a prisoner. I was a prophet. But I was no prophet. I was a man lost in a time that should not exist, trying desperately to survive. Still, they brought offerings, skulls, berries, blood, to appease whatever spirit they believed I carried. They begged me to read the book aloud, but I knew the legends. The words inside weren't merely text. They were keys, spells, warnings. The more I read, the more I changed. I could see in the dark. I heard things others could not. Echoes of the future, names of people I hadn't met yet. I dreamed of cities floating above oceans and beasts coiled around stars. And in my dreams, the book would whisper, "Write me anew." I traveled with the clan from valley to valley, acting as a reluctant oracle. Word spread, and soon other tribes sought me out. Some came to worship, others to kill. I fought with bronze, bled like a man, but survived like something else. The book healed me, Sometimes I think it even killed for me. Years passed, though I could no longer tell how many. The sun felt different in this time, older, heavier. The sky bore colors I had no names for. And the book began to speak through others. A boy named Lirod, born mute, suddenly sang prophecies in a dead tongue. An elder carved symbols into his skin, matching the text on a forgotten page. I knew then I had to leave. The book was growing stronger, feeding off the people, binding them to some greater design I couldn't yet understand. So I fled. I wandered through petrified forests and deserts of bone. I crossed the Sea of Harn, where merfolk sang in chords that rattled the soul. And in every corner of this ancient world, the book appeared again, sometimes in temples, sometimes in dreams. Once, I found a copy buried inside the heart of a volcano, its cover beating like a living thing. The deeper I went, the more fractured time became. In one city, Dumakar, I met a man who claimed to be from my future, a spacefarer lost in the past. He too had seen the book in a derelict ship orbiting a black star. We compared notes. We cried. We knew we would die in this timeline, and our knowledge might die with us. Unless the book survived. I buried it once, deep beneath a tomb sealed with my own blood. And yet, days later, it was back in my pack, humming softly like a beast purring in its sleep. I tried burning it. It drank the flame. I threw it into the sea. It returned, wetter, angrier. Eventually, I accepted the truth. The book was never meant to be destroyed. It was a nexus, a point where stories converged, where timelines bled together. I was not its master. I was its witness. I began writing not to save myself, but to warn others. I carved stories into obsidian tablets, painted warnings in the caves of the southern cliffs, taught hidden sects to preserve my knowledge. And now, I write this last chapter in a place forgotten by time, a hollow mountain where stars whisper at night. If you find this, know the book still lives. Perhaps it found you. Perhaps you're reading these words through trembling fingers, heart racing. If so, heed my final warning. Do not trust the book. It will show you wonders and offer you power. But in exchange, it will drain your name, your past, your soul. You will become like me, a shadow in history, a ghost between eras, a prisoner of the Dragonskin book.